One place where both population issues and agricultural challenges are converging is in the schools, like this one we visited outside Kampala. It is here that you can see both how devastating population growth has been on this country, and yet how much potential there is in that population. That is 1,000 students for a handful of classrooms.
So this is our class for primary 5.
These kids are sharp and motivated to have a better life.
We tried to get them to ask us real questions when we were in their classroom, and they wouldn't do it. They would ask things like, what is a crop? What is farming? What is agriculture? And as soon as we got outside the door of the classroom, they bombarded me with real questions like, what does it look like in America? And what kind of things do you grow in America?
But they are sitting 160 deep in a single classroom.
Thank you. When they do this,
Add that to a history in Uganda of agriculture being used as punishment in school. Get caught talking in class? Go dig a furrow. Act out during a lesson? Spend the afternoon weeding the garden.
As a professional educator, in the context of agriculture, I really take great exception or umbrage to that. And I've been very plain with the fellows about that, and I think most of them realize that fundamentally that is a mistake. That if the young people identify agriculture solely with punishment and drudgery, it's going to be very difficult to attract them to agricultural careers.
But there is an effort to change that culture. At this school, agriculture is now taught as a science, and the school garden, managed within the curriculum, helps supplement the meals. But with so many children, the garden simply cannot produce enough.
the idea behind is to give an opportunity to these kids to understand the agronomic practices as per the different crops. But now when I see the cabbages here, I see the groundnuts there, I see the tomatoes there, exactly that is what they are doing.
On another leg of our trip, we visited the Agricultural Research Station at Makerere University.
Now, as you can see, the bees, these insects can be able to move the disease or the bacteria, the germs, from one plant to the next one.
While there, we saw a group of secondary students touring the facility themselves, being introduced into agriculture as a science and a business. But how do you get messages out to those actively involved in agriculture? Television and internet are available to few outside the cities. Radio is where 80% of Ugandans get their news. But the format and the journalists there are ill-equipped for the detailed messages ag producers need. Fortunately, this country that lacks so much in terms of infrastructure got one part of it wonderfully right.
You know, what you'll find in the developing world, in Kenya and Uganda in particular, that I've experienced, and in Mali to some degree, they've skipped the landline, the telephone line. They've skipped it. You know, it was non-existent, and they've jumped right into the cell phone technology.
And even people that live in traditional African huts, their family has a cell phone, and there's coverage. I haven't ever found a place in Uganda so far that my cell phone doesn't work.
And those cell phones are how one fellow, Daniel Nsima, is trying to bridge the gap between producers and sellers and to shift the power structure of Ugandan agriculture away from the traders in the middle. On our final day, Daniel took KOSU's Rachel Hubbard, photojournalist Mitch Akala, and myself to an urban market and introduced us to a man who buys and sells potatoes.
Omuntu yambisa ba bloka abasobola okuva ku balimi n'asobola okutukozera mu katale kati kuno tusobola ku bloka
So he says they use brokers. The brokers who go to the villages to look for the potatoes. So they load them onto the trucks and bring them to Kampala. So he buys from the brokers. The price that the brokers actually give them is quite higher compared to the price that they buy at from the farmers.
And that is where the cell phone technology comes in. Daniel offers negotiating power to both ends of the chain.
First of all, we started using SMS, short text messaging, where we collect information from the different markets in Kampala and then share that with our farmers in the field. Then also get the prices of the different products in the market and share that with our traders in Kampala. Because the project was about bringing the traders in Kampala, the potato traders in Kampala, with the potato farmers in Kabala and Kisoro, to come to an agreement and be able to establish a formal price, come into agreement and sell the products on a contractual sort of basis. So every morning I call him or he calls me to update me the information on the different prices of the different products in this market. So then I upload that, then I share that with the different farmers and the different traders that we have in our database.
Daniel hopes this market information can help widen profit margins for farmers like Nabawanga Gustine.
Mpoza mpitirivu nosobola okuseera nawo okulaba naye ate n'olemesebwa nabo ne abantu oluusi ne biremera nawo lwa mpozi.
Okay. So she says the cost of transporting our products from PG up to this market is high because the drivers keep telling them that gas is expensive. So that makes transport very expensive for them. And the other thing is that the tax, because they tax them to have a stall in this market. So before they enter this market, they have to pay a certain fee, and she says that is very high. So it makes her products very expensive, and it makes, it kind of reduces her sales and her profit margins.
The market is hard to describe. I'm not even sure I'm able to convey just how busy and tightly packed the area truly is. As fresh and appetizing as so much of this harvest is, inches away, the path you walk on is the rotting leftovers from the markets of the past days and weeks.